And then Gargano and Ciampa, #DIY. And that is my honorable mentions.
Nice. Essentially, you just took NXT and just went,
yes,
now.
We take NXT and we put it somewhere else.
Welcome to the Bearhug Club, a pro wrestling podcast of positivity.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bearhug Club podcast, coming at you live from Wednesday Night Paw, or if you're listening to us on the edited episode, welcome as well. Thank you for downloading. Greg here, once again joined by Jace and Scott, who's going to go get his tea.
It's just bloody rude of him.
You know, he's had all this time, and we were due to start, and he's going to go get his bloody tea. What a man. Anyway, it's been, 2 weeks since we last did an episode? We were delayed last week. Yeah, delayed last week. A lot of stuff going on in personal lives that we couldn't get through to it. And today we've had a bit of a card subject to change type moment, haven't we, Jace?
We have indeed, because our resident New Japan expert is not here.
It's not here. So originally we were going to be covering. We've got about 2 episodes covering the G1 where we're going to be doing the history and legacy, looking at this year's tournament as well, and then we were going to be doing an episode of fantasy booking our own. Garrett is the New Japan guy, so without him, we're all just a bit we know little bits, but we don't know enough. So we've scrambled to pull out an episode literally a couple of hours before due start, and we're going to be doing the top 5 wrestlers we want to become all elite. But before we get to that, because we haven't been on in a while, I think it's time for a Yeet of the Week.
A Yeet of the Week.
Yeet of the Week. So if you're not familiar with this, it's something we've been doing on Instagram where every week we upload a video of some classic yeet, whether it's from history or something that might have happened in the last week. I didn't get a chance to upload on this week, but we're going to pull one from last week, which was a cracking one. So I don't know how caught up in trends you guys are, but have you seen the milk crate challenge at all?
Yes.
No. Well, this is the big thing I'm guessing.
I've seen bits.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, it's a challenge where it sounds in principle like it would be easy. You stack up crates going up into a pyramid shape and you got to walk over them, and typically people are just falling flat on the face. I saw a horrible one. A guy falls and completely breaks his wrist. He just stands up and it's limp. It looked horrible. Anyway, wrestling, never want to miss a trend. Game Changer Wrestling had one of their bigger shows a couple of weeks back, and a bunch of their wrestlers decided to attempt the challenge for themselves. So take a look.
That's such a good spot. That is just no. I didn't expect that at all. I thought at the very least I was like, if they're going hardcore enough, one suplexes them off the other. But then you'd need to be firmly planted on the floor for that. But the fact that the suicide dive was so bang. Yeah.
I was thinking more it was going to be like a Hurricane Rana situation.
Oh, that would have been good.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I really like that outcome. Like there's something very cathartic about watching something being built up smashed. And then there's something even better about watching something smashed with people on top of it, because someone else jumped at it from another angle, just perfect. Oh,
it was amazing. They're like watching human bowling. That it was very, very, very well done of them. But yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, go check it out on the YouTube version of this. That's all I have to say. So yeah, as we were going through there. Oh, hang on.
Hey!
There he is. Wait, what? He's there, but he ain't here. What's going on, Garrett?
What you doing?
I'm sure he'll get back to us.
If you've got time to type, you've got time to stream.
So, yeah, as we were saying, Scott, we had a card subject to change moment, and we are obviously covering our top 5 wrestlers that we want to become all elite, because it's fair to say in this year alone, AEW has basically has had a landslide of amazing talent jumping ship or debuting for the company. I mean, you look at just the last couple of months alone, you've had obviously Punk, Bryan, Malachi Black, Adam Cole, baby. Question to ask, given how it's only been over 2 years, just slightly over 2 years now since AEW kickstarted, do you think it's already becoming a place that a lot of wrestlers are aspiring to go to rather than WWE?
Oh, definitely. I think it is, because if you think, before AEW, the goal was, really to make money in wrestling, you had to be in WWE or be a former WWE guy.
Yeah.
If you look at, there was very rare occasions like the Bucks and Kenny were making money not being in WWE. But then, you look, Cody came out of WWE and was making money.
Yeah.
But now with AEW, you've got another big wrestling company, which I wouldn't say it's a household name yet, but it is getting there. It's got a billionaire benefactor. You can go there, you can make money, and it looks like wrestlers are a lot happier there.
Yeah.
And I think at this stage, after post-COVID, if wrestlers like any other industry, people are no, if you look at what's happening in America, where there's a worker shortage, because people aren't willing to put up with the bullshit anymore. This is an alternative where people look like people are happier. They've got more control over what they're doing, and they haven't got a senile person in their ear telling them what to do.
It's perfectly said.
It's exciting because the thing is with WWE holding all of the chips like they did 2.5 odd years ago, was that if anyone wanted to make it on the wider known mainstream wrestling scene, they had to adapt to WWE style. That was the quote unquote point of NXT, was to get these guys through developmental, teach them the WWE way, the WWE promos, the script work, the crowd handling, and the very, very I'd hate to call it safe, because the way WWE wrestling matches work aren't entirely safe. We've seen injuries before. The Big E spear out to the outside is a good example how it's not exactly fucking Miz-style safe matches or anything like that. But if you compare it to, let's say, for instance, the Nick Gage versus Chris Jericho type death match, then it's safer, family-friendly wrestling. But not everyone fits into that style. Dean Ambrose / John Moxley is a prime piece of evidence to this. It got everyone. He had Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins, which is really good until the hologram, and you get to see glimpses of what their actual style is, but it would never work in WWE's family-friendly television, where they want some larger-than-life, big, bulky character to hold the title. When everyone wants to be the best at what they do, but not everyone can be Action Man style built. So it gives people options. It's exciting. It means people can be themselves now, and have success on the level of Orange Cassidy, where you can just be a good character with comedy, sure, but with layers. You can be like Cody, who's just he's just like a very traditional wrestler, but isn't built like Triple H. He's just He's a great character. The AEW is like the home of characters, whilst WWE, they're just two very different styles. And now people who can succeed in the WWE style have more time to try and do that, and the people who can succeed in the AEW style can also do that as well. And there's also Impact in New Japan for everyone else. So it feels like we're back in almost territories talk now.
Yeah,
It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
See, for me, it's like I've just thought of this, but I sort of liken it to Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Like, I think Hayden Christensen is an alright actor, but I think because he was so young, being in such a big film with such a big name behind it, like George Lucas, if he thought a bit of the script, like I don't like sand, was stupid, you're not going to say anything to George Lucas about that. Because George Lucas could just go, right, we're just going to start again, get someone else. And it's sort of like that with WWE. Like, if you're a young, up-and-coming wrestler and you get given a terrible gimmick or a terrible promo, you're not going to turn around to Vince McMahon and say, that's fucking stupid, I'm not doing that. And because there was nowhere else for so long, they didn't have a choice, but now they do. It's like WCW. Like, once wrestlers have a choice, it's going to force them to be like, right, either I can stay here, do the shit and get paid, or take a risk and go there. And I think most people now are willing to take the risk because WWE has gone so bad.
Yeah, I think for me, the way it was for a long while was if you wanted to be in wrestling and actually wanted to make the big bucks, WWE was all you could really aspire towards. And that would have obviously involved you have to basically learn their style. You have to do things the way that they want to do it, which has gotten a lot worse as we've seen over the years. But because of how much wrestling, like we are basically in another golden period, which has been stretching for some time. You know, indie wrestling got massive in the UK, as well as like kept getting bigger in the States. So that kind of gives a little bit of an alternative. New Japan obviously went back to prominence, but then now there is like this big other wrestling company where wrestlers who do just want to wrestle. It's like when CM Punk said when he returned, he left. He says he left wrestling in 2005 and he's come back to it in 2021. It's because if you go to WWE, they are more about the entertainment rather than the wrestling. And now there is a place where actual wrestlers can go to wrestle. So I think that's why a lot of them are preferring AEW, because it's a bit more free and it is actually focusing on the wrestling aspect of it. Right, well, we'll kind of get cracking into our list. I'm going into it, if you listeners at home want to do it, there wasn't any rules implied. Like when I was putting mine together, I tried to avoid New Japan and Impact Wrestling guys, because with the Forbidden Door being open at the moment, it could be a guarantee that any of them could eventually show up for a match at least, and then they basically had an all elite moment. How did you guys find putting the list together, Scott? I know you basically struggled with too many names. You're gonna wear out our honorable mention section.
I really am. I really am. That's probably gonna be. Yeah, no, it was more just a case of like I had to very quickly fantasy book in my head and being like, okay, I've got all these names, but who can I picture in the storyline that's going to make me slap my wallet on the ground and fucking pray? So I've gone for just those names, and I just started thinking of dream matches in my head. Of which there are plenty, especially on WWE's mid card, and even in wider indie wrestling. I found I got a couple of names from there too, and NXT mid card as well. There's so many names, so many. But yeah,
absolutely. Jace, how did you find it?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't put a list together. I'm just going to say the first 5 that pop into my head.
Okay, right. Well,
I like look at these opposing styles. This is very synonymous to what we were talking about earlier. You know, you got to have a variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott's very like has to be like this, like this, like this, and I'm just like, hey, we're just going to have a party over here.
Yeah, that's a great
I am the AEW in this situation. I just go with the floor, let people do what they want.
What's that? You write your promos, you fucking loser.
Right, boys, we'll crack in. Do you want me to kick off the list?
Go
for it.
Right, my fifth pick would be Volta. And I'll tell you for why. Essentially, with WWE making all these different cuts across the board, they've already, with the relaunch of NXT, they've already stripped back a lot of the promises of the whole global expansion that Triple H wanted to do of having an NXT in like every continent, pretty much. I generally don't see NXT UK surviving much longer. It's even though there's brilliant matches, brilliant talent involved, it's just not pulling in the figures I think they want. And as a result, I think Vince will be like, well, why do we still have it? Now, that obviously means they could bring people across. And the word is they want Volta more on NXT, the main brand NXT, going forward following that Elia match. But if you know Volta, he's a man that he loves Europe. He doesn't. The big reason he's not fully with WWE is because he doesn't want to do the traveling and he doesn't want to move to America. So if he does, it's going to be a lot of backwards and forwards. And I think even once he's done NXT, if he wins their belt and then drops it, what's he going to do next? I don't see him having a run on the main roster. AEW is more of a better prospect for him because, again, he's a wrestler's wrestler, right? The dream matches, they're amazing. I'd finally get my dream match of him and Kenny Omega. That'd be amazing. Plus, they're very liberal with the talents. Obviously, Pac being the example, he lives in the UK and comes across for shows. And because they don't do like a heavy touring schedule, that means Volta would be able to do the same. He could still live in Europe, come across for some matches, go backwards and forwards, and be open to being able to do other wrestling stuff as well. Because, like, again, if we're in AEW, you're not tied to them exclusively. They've shown up in other places. And yeah, I mean, just the dream matches there. I mean, my God, him and Kenny Omega is top of my bucket list of dream matches, which is why I put it on our super card. Well, when I voted for it, and yeah, just that alone makes me want to see him show up in AEW.
Lance Archer as well comes to mind too. That would be a big Hoss fest, and I want to see that. That's all. Yeah, Walter is also number 8 on my list, so I get to cross him off now.
Ooh, close.
Give me, if we're talking like dream matches for Walter in AEW, we've had Lance Archer, we've had Kenny Omega. Give me Walter Moxley now.
Oh, yes! I'm just picturing Walter.
Actually, it's a match that's already happened, but I'd love to see it again. Walter Pac.
Yes. I want to see Walter chop light tubes into Moxley. That would be a great spot. I'm just trying to think of others as well, because there's some good ones that are coming to mind straight away.
Walter can be the kind of guy as well. Like, obviously, as Greg said, he loves being in Europe. He doesn't want to move to America. He can be a guy who sort of, not to the extent of Brock Lesnar, but he can be a guy who just shows up, does a couple of weeks, has a match, and then disappears.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
he can do that very easily.
Because of his stock in NXT, I think he's still not quite on the level of being a household name, but I think given the popularity he's got, you bring him over to AEW, they could easily build him up as that Brock Lesnar type monster. And like you say, if he doesn't want to be there full time, have him come in a couple of times a year just to do big programs for these dream matches. And it'll make money and it'd give me such a wrestling bonus in the matches that he has. It'd be great.
I mean,
you say a household name. I think for the AEW crowd, he is.
He'd be up there, but like in terms of a wider audience.
If you turned up on SmackDown on Friday, most of the crowd or most of just the casual fans probably wouldn't know who he was. Well, they might have heard of him, but they wouldn't know what he was about. Whereas if you turned up on Dynamite tonight, everyone, the place would erupt.
I think so. Yeah. Just hit the opening part of the symphony, and I think the place would just go mental.
Yeah, it could be a great excuse for AEW just to come to Europe, for crying out loud, come to Europe, because if they make that like a regular tour, if AEW come do like a European tour like once a year maybe, then we can be like, oh, that can be when Walter comes in. They come like. Basically, they come to the UK and like you're like, right, who's Walter battering this time? That kind of thing.
Could, like AEW could even like do that, like make a pay-per-view, a yearly pay-per-view in the UK around Walter, or even not even the UK. Like even if it toured Europe, like one year they do it in the UK, the next they do it in Germany, in France, in Italy, whatever. But like that's Walter's show.
Bloody love Walter. I bloody love Walter.
Absolutely, I'm glad that went down well. Scott, why don't you take us through yours? We'll let Jace fly by the seat of his pants last.
Okay. So just to be clear, we are including teams as well.
Absolutely. Basically with this list, you could have had a whole tag team for an entry. You could have picked obviously a women's wrestler, whoever you want to see, basically.
Wonderful, good, because I got the lot in this list. But I'm starting off with one of my favorite wrestlers of the modern era, who I feel like would shine back under his previous style, especially given the people who currently work for AEW. My pick is Shinsuke Nakamura. I want to see. I've been wanting to see him versus Kenny for a while. I've also been wanting to see the King of Strong style again for a while. He's getting sort of back to it with the Boog stuff. He's getting TV time. Fine with that. But get out of there, Shinsuke. I want the strong strikes. I want basically just the energy of his match with Sami Zayn and his matches with AJ Styles in New Japan, and just let him loose in AEW and give him Omega, give him Danielson, and bring back the extra entrances. Not the WWE ones, although some of the ones in NXT were brilliant with the strobe lighting, but give him the massive crown and the dancing girls and the old boy weird parade thing he got. Give him the most flamboyant outfits on the planet. Yeah, no, I adore Nakamura, and I want to see him in a couple of dream matches.
Yeah, Nakamura, like, I hope if WWE, because WWE missed the boat on pulling the trigger on Nakamura, he should have won the title from AJ the year he won the Rumble. Like, I reckon if you said to people, like, who won, like, has there been a Japanese Royal Rumble winner, they'd say no, because it was just so unmemorable.
Yeah, which is a shame for arguably my favorite Royal Rumble match, at least of the last 15 years.
I think that's got my favorite Royal Rumble moment, where you had Balor, Reigns, Nakamura, Cena, Orton, Mysterio, having that stare down. That's one of my favorite Royal Rumble moments, and that's when you were like, they're going to pull the trigger on. Well, they're either going to have Reigns do the double, because I think he won it the year before.
Yeah.
Or it might be in the year before that. And they're going to do it for Nakamura. But yeah, Nakamura in AEW is just a license to print money. Because he has the veteran. He could put together an amazing match with a bloody mop. We know this.
Yeah.
But he's also got that wisdom, that veteran wisdom to be like, to say to the younger guys, right, here's what you're doing. If you tweak it a little bit to be like this, you're golden. And there's not really like that. I'm trying to think. There's not really that really big Japanese name in AEW permanently.
No.
Yeah, permanently. I think,
Suzuki.
Suzuki.
Got, like, guest people coming in, yeah. But there's no one there who's permanent. Which I think Nakamura just, even if he's like does like being wrestler and like a coach to the younger guys, like teach them that strong style. Because I think that's something WWE just lacks. Like we've talked about, it has to be the WWE style. But if you look at Zayn Nakamura, two different styles that just work together so well. But apart from that, everyone's pretty much got the same moveset. Like, any match you watch, you're going to see a suicide dive.
Yeah.
And I think have Nakamura there, get a couple of different styles into people. And
sorry, Greg, if just one last thing. If that doesn't sell you enough on Nakamura, I would just like to say, imagine Excalibur calling out for the Bomb-IA knee. Give it its original name. Oh,
Yeah.
Anyways, very sorry, Greg, as you were.
No, that's all right, man. I was just basically to agree with your point. I think for me, Shinsuke peaked with that Sami Zayn match, and that is like his debut match. Like I think from there, fair enough, his NXT run was good, but then we got the main roster. It just feels like he never fully gelled with the WWE style, and then on top of that, they've somewhat pushed him, but they're never fully always known what to do with him. And I just feel like he must be reaching the point where he's maybe getting a bit fed up, and he's not. If he goes to AEW, he can just be fully back to like how he would have worked in New Japan. Like he can let loose the strong style again. And I just think he could. If he's obviously like quite a lot more senior as well. I think if he's going to look to round out his career soon, that would probably be the place to do it. And on top of that, like a lot of the reasons he went to WWE are no longer there anymore. He never fully got to fulfill them. So I think one of the big reasons he went there is because he wanted that match with Bryan Danielson. And to my knowledge, I don't think they ever did have a match. I could be wrong.
No, I think a tag match might have happened, but I'll need to look that up.
I think they might have like teased like potentially doing a match in like a Rumble or something, but it just never came about.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I mean, proof is there. Like, if they had a match, we would have probably remembered it. But yeah, the idea that them two just colliding would just be an ultimate dream. So yeah, that's definitely a top choice. Jace,
speaking of Nakamura,
yeah,
he's never lost a match with John Cena. Not many people can say that in WWE.
Yes, exactly.
That's a hell of a record for him to leave on.
Yeah.
Have you got one for us at number 5, Jace?
I've got one.
Okay.
One. Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I'm going to cross that off my list as well. That was 27 for me. So
I kept him off mine because obviously there's the rumors abound that he could potentially be going there when his contract is up. But
no, I haven't seen these. Rumors.
Oh, okay. Well, give us your reasons then of why you'd want to see him.
So basically, Kevin Owens, because he is amazing in the ring. Like he could have great matches with. You could go and have more great matches with Jericho. You could have great matches with Omega, Phoenix, Malachi Black, everyone. But the main reason I want him in AEW is because I want Kevin Stein going one-on-one in a promo battle with CM Punk.
Ooh. Or
that would be good.
Kevin Steen versus MJF.
Yeah, just like, and I think AEW's style would benefit him more because Kevin Owens at the minute, I think he's one of like maybe 5 wrestlers who doesn't have to, who's allowed to go off script.
Yeah,
I think it's like Reigns is allowed now, Cena, The Rock when he's there, KO, and I think, and Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
they're the only ones who don't have to stick to scripts. But obviously, they still have to keep it PG. But if he went to AEW, just imagine the absolute fire that will come out of that microphone. The dream matches.
Yeah.
Get Fuego del Sol to sell the stunner for crying out loud, and bringing the stunner to AEW, including the rest of Kevin Owens's like stupendously good moveset, would be a blessing. He's very much a Ring of Honor style of wrestler. He came from the same kind of alumni that Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk did. It's very much that kind of high octane Ring of Honor American indie style, and it's a spectacle for sure. And it fits in AEW so well. Yeah, it's a great pick.
100%. I mean, he's the same kind of name of like when Adam Cole went across there. It just made sense because that's where a lot of his friends basically are now. And again, Kevin Owens is a guy, he's in it for the wrestling. And fair enough, he's good at the entertainment side of it, which is why I think Vince has always been a bit keen on him because he can talk. I mean, Vince McMahon has not let many people headbutt him. Full on. You know what I'm
bleed
saying?
hard way too. And he bled hard way.
So I think Vince does have a bit of a liking to Kevin, but yeah, I think I like obviously you didn't hear about this, Jace, but yeah, big rumors are about his contracts due at the end of the year, and all reports seem to point to that. Yeah, he's not going to re-sign, and he is going to jump ship. I just think it would like we've been saying though, it is just a much better fit for the kind of person he is. I mean, I think he was always a WWE fan at heart, but he's kind of had his moment there. I think he's done pretty much all he probably can do. I mean, I just don't see him getting another run with the Universal or WWE Championship. You know what I mean? I feel like he had that run in the sun, and now because other people are more of the focus, if he went to AEW, maybe he could have a big run with something like the TNT or even eventually the AEW title.
See, I think the way Owens has been booked in WWE, like even when he was Universal Champion, he was still booked like a mid-carder.
Yeah.
Fully.
And I think AEW, especially like, because he'll have Jericho in his corner all the way when it comes to how he's booked. Like he could, like AEW could book him to the moon, to the absolute moon, and get him that main event status that he deserves.
No, 100%. Ready to move on to number 4, gents?
Yeah.
So for my number 4, I decided to go to a guy who's recently been doing some great stuff in Ring of Honor, and he's kind of a very savvy mind when he comes to his own sort of social media and handling stuff outside of wrestling, and that is Danhausen.
Danhausen? I don't know if I know Danhausen.
Ooh, well, let's go. So the Danhausen would essentially be a great wrestler to add to, because the one thing AEW is not afraid of doing, it's a bit more things on the comedic side. I mean, obviously you look at how well Orange Cassidy took off, even though he does tremendous wrestling as well. I think Danhausen would be the perfect wrestler to add to that. I think I need to get a picture of him just so you can kind of see who he is. So he's really hard to describe. He's a guy, he's actually one of Conan O'Brien's favorite wrestlers, because Danhausen is very much influenced by Conan O'Brien as he is by wrestling. And he was actually on Conan O'Brien's podcast to tell him about his gimmick and stuff like that. Essentially, his gimmick is very nice, very evil. So he plays this kind of character that's meant to be like an evil baddie, but he's actually polite. So a big thing of part of his act is he doesn't like people swearing. So if he's in the ring with the opponent and they start swearing, he like kind of scolds them for it. But the thing as well, like if you look back at his early career, because like once I get this picture up to kind of show you what I mean, when you look at his early career, he's also a really good worker. His original look had a bit of like a Tommy End, Aleister Black kind of look to him. He has the tattoos, and he was very skilled with his kicks and his chops, and he was quite athletic. But then because like it wasn't like the most original thing, he leaned more into this sort of comedic styling, and it's done really well for him. So he signed a Ring of Honor last year, and he does really well on things like Cameo and his YouTube channel. This is what he looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he's really good. And I just think he's already had quite a storied. He's already had quite a storied indie career with the likes of Warhorse and Orange Cassidy, and I just think he'd be quite another unique element. It would help with, because I think even though AEW is more focused on the wrestling, I think they do still need that kind of extra bit of entertainment side of it to keep like any casual fans that they might want to try and bring across. And I think Danhausen could be that extra layer, because he could bring that good comedic element to it, just to kind of break down the non-stop good wrestling. So yeah, Danhausen.
Very nice. I'll have to look up clips of this. I'm just literally looking up pictures of him now. Yeah. No, I'll have to watch clips of this guy. This guy's
honestly listen. Oh, he's great. He goes on YouTube channel, and he does like unboxing, and he goes to like conventions and stuff, and he always pretty much does it in character. So Conan O'Brien's got quite a good podcast called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, where typically he interviews celebrities, but he does like an offshoot called Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan. The very first episode he did of that, he interviews Danhausen and asks him about his wrestling career, and he ended up becoming Conan O'Brien's favorite wrestler. So yeah, Danhausen. I'm guessing you guys won't have too much to add to that one. So, Scott, what was your number 4?
My number 4. My number 4 is he's been on the mind today because I watched the match he had with Sami Zayn in NXT years and years and years ago. And then it led me to a clip of this guy's wrestling highlights, and I'm shocked that WWE has not plastered this guy with titles. It's Cesaro. How? Because the guys that like it was typically used an example for by Vince McMahon in the Broken Skull sessions as someone who does not grasp the brass ring, right? I think that's ridiculous in so many ways because it's not just this guy's style, but it's his strength, the work he must put in training and at the gym to get his body the way it is. He's naturally charismatic. He's had multiple phases, a brilliant tag team with Tyson Kidd, which was arguably one of my favorite multi-tag matches in WrestleMania history. And I think, if I'm trying to remember WrestleMania 31 well enough, not sure if it was on the undercard or not, but it was still like a really good match. It was like them, the New Day, someone else and someone else. And he even had the whole gimmick where he was coming on dressed as James Bond, but just with a tearaway suit. And it was my favorite thing for so long. Oh, the bar as well. Bring Sheamus over to AEW with them. Screw it. I'm going to change this from just Cesaro to the bar as a whole. Because what a tag team that was. That was just... their entrance was phenomenal.
Arguably Sheamus' best work as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the work Sheamus is doing now, to be fair. His whole like weird Irish gangster gimmick. I like it. But like
Irish Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. But it's just send the bar to AEW. Let them have a match with Santana and Ortiz, or let them have a match with Lucha Brothers, or Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. That'll be a great match too. I'm going to change my answer from just Cesaro by himself to the bar. I sold myself on that idea midway through describing Cesaro, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd have the bar in AEW. Like, the bar were one of them tag teams that just should not have worked.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have worked, but it did. And thank God it did, because I think if it didn't, like, the only tag teams really in WWE at that time were the New Day and the Usos.
And
as much as like I love the Usos and the New Day's matches because they've always been fantastic, it was just nice to have that third team in there. But yeah, like you say, they could have matches against the Lucha Bros, the Bucks, anyone really, any tag team.
Private Party would be a great match.
Like they could even like see. You might not know this, but TNA used to do a thing called the Deuces Wild tournament, where you'd draw a name out of a hat, that's your tag partner, and then there was like a knockout tag team tournament, winners become number one contender for the tag titles. But if they did it somewhere, it was actual tag team, someone was like thrown together, and if I'm remembering rightly, that might have been how Beer Money came about. Who, again, another fantastic tag team that should not have worked, but did. So even if they try to do something in the same way as that, right, we're going to have a tournament, winners become the number one contenders, and then just have like these surprise tag teams coming in. Because then you can have them, even if they don't win it, but you can have them like get to the final and just have dream matches all the way at the final.
Yeah. Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express would be another great match. Luchasaurus and Cesaro mixing it up will be perfect. And imagine how fast he'd be able to swing Jungle Boy.
Oh,
It would be
No,
lightning.
he'd be going that fast, he'd actually take off.
Yeah. And as
Cesaro on a
the
helicopter.
they're
Goes
flying
back
out of
in-
the Allstate Arena, by God.
goes so fast he goes backwards in time before Jungle Boy was born. He's just holding a fetus by the end of it.
That's like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I love it.
Yeah, no, again. Brooks Scott, I'm proud.
I'm gonna beat you so hard. I'm gonna pin you before you are born.
Just goes back in time, and then he's just swinging. He's just got hold of Matthew Perry by the balls. It's like
what happened here?
Luke Perry. That's the one.
But even then,
Luke Perry.
get Cesaro and
Yeah,
Sheamus on singles runs as well. Cesaro versus I know for a lot of these you're going to be like so and so versus Omega, but come on, Cesaro versus Omega would be a great match.
See, even the Bar versus the Rhodes brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, like, legit, one of my favorite tag matches in WWE was the Rhodes brothers as Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus the Shield. I don't think they ever had a match with the Bar, which would have been amazing.
The Bar might have been after their time, you know.
Yeah, it might have been.
I
It might have
think
been
the
like in the
Rhodes
Stardust. They might have been the Stardust era.
It were, I think it was around that time. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be another solid tag suggestion. I agree. I'd love to see the Bar there. I don't think I'd see Sheamus ever leaving WWE, but I definitely could see Cesaro doing it. I think one of the biggest disappointments for this year was when Cesaro had that blinder of a match at WrestleMania, and it was kind of like he was a focal point of it, and it seemed like, all right, so are they finally going to pull the trigger? Is he finally going to get to do some big stuff? Had a shot at the Universal title, but then it just feels like they've just once again like deactivated that push, and he's just kind of fell back down the card again. So I think he's another one that, like, when maybe he's looking to start wrapping up his career, he'd want to go elsewhere and show the world of like how good he was. Because like the big reason he got to WWE is because he was a huge name in the likes of the PWG and Ring of Honor before he made it to WWE, and everyone thought this was going to be the guy to be like the next main eventer there. And like we said, he's always had a push behind him, and then for whatever reason, it just falls short. For whatever reason, clearly Vince just seems to be like, which is completely nuts to me.
I think the reason he keeps getting these like mini pushes and then he's losing them is the only fault in Cesaro's game is his mic skills.
Yeah.
But that might be because of the language barrier, or because.
But even then, I can think of a
like
couple.
6 languages. He speaks 6 languages. He's not going to be like. Like, I only speak one language, but I can imagine if you've got like that many languages kicking about in your head, you're going to have to think.
Yeah.
Like as you're talking, that might be why he's not very good on the mic.
I thought like yes, but at the same time, WWE have Eva Marie, and
yeah, but there's two reasons they've got Eva Marie.
Well, even like Brock Lesnar, for example, like Brock Lesnar's not. He's amazing in literally every department apart from his own mic skills, in my opinion. Please don't hurt me,
the
Brock.
Difference there, the difference there is though, Brock's a spectacle. Cesaro is not.
Yeah, true.
Or a testicle, if you believe Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, good. Topical and clever.
Yeah. Solid pick, Scott. Jace, what have you got? A number 4 for us?
Yeah, I'll go for a one that's a bit. It's probably going to be the one that people are going to disagree with the most.
Okay.
I'm going to say Roman Reigns.
No, I see it.
It'd be good, but I doubt it's ever going to happen.
In a Hulk
fantasy
Hogan going to
booking.
WCW kind of
true.
way. In a Hulk Hogan going
like-
to WCW kind of way. I definitely see
I
it.
think now I think now that Reigns is sort of like come into his own, finally shaking off like the Shield, and now that he's the head of the table, what have you, he could go anywhere because now he knows what he's doing. Knows what he's doing on the mic. He knows what he's doing in the ring. He knows how to get that heat behind him, and I think it would be brilliant for some of the like it'd be like having Jericho, but like a more modern version of Jericho, that big household name to feed to the younger people, to get them more over, even if they don't beat him, because they're not going to beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But even if they don't beat him, like to have that brush with him, and like I could see him being like more of an Undertaker type figure in AEW, of being like that eldest, like, even though he's still relatively new to the business anyway, that elder statesman of being like, if you can hang with him for a couple of segments, you're going to be all right, because he's going to make money despite himself.
Can you imagine Vince McMahon's anger? I reckon it would, genuinely reckon it would reverse gravity. Like, people would start falling into the fucking clouds.
I'm going to make a Twitter account, and I'm going to tweet Roman Reigns every day, tell him to go to AEW just to see what Vince does.
That could actually finish Vince off. That could actually give him a heart attack.
I think it would cause nuclear fission. Like, it would just suddenly all the lights in like Las Vegas, Nevada suddenly smash or something like that. Some kind of weird natural phenomenon will begin.
I just like to think that Vince is such an egomaniac. He's got somehow that when he dies, he's got like lights that's going to go over him, saying like "game over" or something. And if Reigns leaves AEW, it's just going to say "game over."
Level 2. It's just like put in one more credit to continue. It's like when you die on Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick. I'd love to see Roman Reigns in it. I'd love to see the whole bloodline, because like Reigns and the Usos.
I'll change it to the bloodline. Get the Usos there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finally have the Elite versus the Bloodline, which is basically the big faction warfare at the moment, right?
That's the DX versus DX versus NWO of now, basically.
Yeah.
And like just that tag match between the Bucks and the Usos, like that gives me the biggest erection.
Tell you who I think will have a very interesting kind of match against Roman Reigns. I reckon he'd have a great match against Darby. Not your erection, although that could be a good match. Who knows?
You can sell it to pay-per-view.
I was trying to come up with an insurrection joke, because I'd watched Dark Side of the Ring.
Roman Reigns will get we'll have my erection.
Anyways, I was about to say Darby Allin versus Roman Reigns would be a great match, in my opinion. I'll be saying this throughout the entirety of this episode. I'll be like, put Jungle Boy against Damien Sandow. It would be a good match, and it probably would. But I'm going to say it anyways.
I know. I can already picture the spot Darby would have in mind, and it's him going for the coffin drop, and then Reigns gets up and spears him midair while he's behind. I mean, I don't know how you could do that without actually breaking Darby's back, but I'm sure Darby would be like, "Yeah, we could do that."
So many times I've watched a Darby match, I'm like, "How does he do that without?" When he went through the casket back first, and I was like, "Nah, he's doing some spinal damage, but it's Darby, innit?"
That CM Punk match where he just gets yeeted into the ring post, like he goes through the turnbuckles back first. I was like, why?
How is this guy not in perpetual pain? But yeah, I guess.
Like, and I'll tell you what, with Reigns, I would love to see him have a match with Moxley.
Well, there you go.
Matches with Ambrose, but he's never been with Moxley. He's never been with anyone like Moxley.
No.
Yeah.
No.
and the story is already writing itself.
Yeah.
Like
Like
you can't really
it can
say
just-
the
it can-
Shield, but we all know what they're talking about.
No, well, no, I don't even mean like that. I mean like Moxley, sort of like one of the biggest names in the company. Then Reigns comes in, overshadowed him, and Moxley's just like, "Right, you bastard." And he has to say that.
You
He has to say, right, you bastard.
Oh, you little daft.
Come here, Bonnie lad.
You dafty. Oh,
Have you never heard that before?
I'm picturing a Geordie John Moxley. It's what I'm picturing.
Sure.
New pitch for AEW: Moxley Pac tag team. Moxley starts doing a Geordie accent.
I'm sure Pac will give him some good tips.
There was that story in WWE, wasn't there, where Miz wanted Neville to teach him the Geordie accent because apparently he had. Yeah, because apparently the story was the Miz had got cast to be playing a Geordie and wanted Pac to teach him how to do a Geordie accent. Just every week it was just the Miz like trying to like different ways to get him to teach him.
That's mad.
But like it was before he became like the king of the cruiserweight, so he was still like a baby face.
Yeah.
But he was just every time he was just like just walks away. Which I think that would have been hilariously depressing. Trying to watch the Miz do a Geordie accent. I'm sure he called him Bonnie Lad at one point as well.
Oh God. Americans just stay away from the Geordie accent. But solid number 4 picks. Guys.
How do
Really
you
like
say
them.
this? Howay and shite? What does it
Oh,
mean?
God.
Shite. Well, to be fair, it's like that. It's like that when you go to London.
Oh yeah.
Me and Greg aren't even Geordies, but I love your Geordie accent. We're not Geordies.
Yeah, Mackhams.
What?
No, what?
We're not
I'm
taking that
joking.
either.
No. So number 3.
My number 3. I'm going with Finn Balor or Prince Devitt, as you would be if you went there. Mainly because when it comes to Finn's run in WWE, yeah, I'll get into that. When it comes to Finn's run in WWE, first of all, it's his NXT stuff that he's really done well in. Main roster, it's been a bit similar to Shinsuke or Cesaro. Had bits of pushes, and it's clearly used over the fans, but it's never, other when he won the Universal titles, just never seen a lick of the main event scene again. Like, I mean, recently when he's come back, he was placed in the Roman Reigns and John Cena storyline, and fair enough, it's led to a match now, but it still feels a bit of an afterthought. I just think the perfect storyline for him right now is for him to go to All Elite and be part of the Elite storyline, but I'm not going to have him join the Elite. Have like a Civil War type scenario, so he takes Gallows and Anderson. So then you've got Gallows, Anderson, and Balor on one side, and then you've got Omega, the Bucks, and Cole on the other side.
Yeah.
Bullet Club, Elite Civil War. I think the matches and the storylines basically write themselves with that one.
And you could even go a little bit further and get like the newest Bullet Club, the one that's currently in New Japan. Get Tamatonga in, get Jay White in. That would be spectacular. Yeah. Get faction warfare on 3 sides, like 3 eras of Bullet Club. That'd be brilliant.
I'll even add one more to that. I think I was going to choose this guy as my next pick, but I'll just throw it out there for this one.
Okay.
Get AJ.
There we go.
And then you can have like.
I will cross number 14 off my list.
So you can have even if you don't bring in like the current Bullet Club, you've still got like the first 3 leaders of Bullet Club in there, and it's just all out like fighting for like who's actually going to be the leader of this group. The only thing with that though is it going to go a bit too NWO?
Well, no, because I suppose in the sense that
Because-
when NWO did splinter into different factions like Latino World Order and the Wolfpack, maybe, but I don't think it would. I think AEW could get it right, and given those minds involved, it wouldn't become too bloated. I think they could tell a genuine, interesting story of like, again, a civil war between, well, if you want to add AJ, these three former Bullet Club leaders over like who's, again, the rightful people of the Elite or the rightful people of Bullet Club. I think you could tell some very unique stories of that, especially with the idea of like lots of deception and back and forth kind of stuff. It'd be really good.
Yeah.
I think like it could work because I think Balor is another one of them, like a Kevin Owens or a Cesaro who could come in and be main event.
Yeah.
Or like not immediately, because I don't think Balor would want to like just go straight right. I'm going to be facing Omega for the title. I think Balor would be more bothered about telling the story of like how he's going to get there, and I think even if they do it like Balor comes in, and they don't even mention the Bullet Club stuff. Don't even mention Japan. It's just like, oh, we're all friends, and Balor gets sick of Omega being like, I'm the champion, therefore I'm the best. And he's just like, yeah. just every week he's just like, yeah. Aye, yeah. And then eventually, but then that's when you split that group up, when Balor's had enough of Omega's arrogance.
Yeah.
And then it's like who's loyal to Balor, who's loyal to Omega. And it eventually comes down to like Balor Omega.
Yeah. I think
maybe not even for the title, even if like Omega's lost the title at this point, it's still like you don't need the title for that story.
Yeah. I think what's good about them as well, and I think we could have said the same for Shinsuke, if both like him and the likes of Finn go back. I mean, what's good about it is that they can actually go back and have another New Japan run. Because he never got a chance to get that. I'd love to see him go back and win the IWGP heavyweight title, so he can take that off the list and kind of round out the New Japan side of things. But yeah, I think with Finn, it seems like he really didn't want to leave NXT when he had this second run, because he was pitching to go to the UK brand as well. It seems like they're more of what he wanted to do. And I just think if he's going to be on the main roster now, unless he is getting more of a push, I just kind of see him like Adam Cole and like the rest saying, well, a lot of the people I know now in this other big company doing probably more stuff I want to do. I kind of want to go over there now. Scott, do you want to take us through your number 3?
All right. So my number 3 is inspired by Will Osprey, who is on the honorable mentions. Hi, baby.
Hi, baby. Violet cameo.
Aww. So my number 3 was inspired by Will Osprey because of a picture he put up on Twitter. But this is a tag team who is not in either WWE or AEW. It's a tag team that deserves to be in the top spot of both companies, in my opinion. And as Progress fans, I know we all love this tag team very much. And by your smile, I think you already know who I'm about to say. Greg?
Oh, I mean, it could be a number of teams, but is it the Swords of Essex?
It's not, but it's a good shout. It's Aussie Open.
Oh, nice.
I think they are one of the, if not the best unsigned tag team in all of wrestling right now. I say unsigned. They're still getting plenty of business. But like they every time I've seen them in Progress, they've blown me away in both their storytelling and their wrestling. And Australian wrestling has hit its absolute peak. You got Buddy Murphy, you got Tony Storm, the Iconics as well. I know, so just throw Aussie Open in the mix as well. Get them a small tag title run, and I love Aussie Open. I'd love to see him in AEW.
Yeah, love that pick. Aussie Open. See, Violet agrees. Violet wants to see Aussie Open.
No.
She's a big Aussie fan.
Ripley.
Hello?
I just realised it's free. It's 3 men and a baby.
Yes.
It's-
3 men and a baby.
But yeah, Aussie Opens. Like honestly, yeah, like you're right. They are been one of the best untapped talents that are still tearing it up on the indies. Like if people are not familiar with Aussie Open, do yourselves a favor, get a subscription to Progress because it's only about a $5. Go back and watch their back catalogue from 2019 when they had a solid run with the Progress tag team titles. They had a tremendous, one of the best TLC match I've ever seen was them versus the Swords of Essex. Fantastic. And yeah, as Scott said, they are, it looks like hopefully there might be bigger things coming now that they've recently sided with Will Osprey's faction in New Japan. So hopefully we'll see some solid matches out of them there. But I think eventually we could see more of them. And I think AEW would be the perfect place for them to go to.
For sure. And we've gone through a lot of the. I could sit here and be, they could face these guys or they could face these guys, and we could equally just agree and nod our heads and be like, yeah, that'd be a sick match. But Young Bucks though, it would be great. It would be great. Yeah, it'd be great.
It'd be great.
It'd be great.
Be great. Jace agrees.
It'd be great.
It would. Violet agreed earlier. It would be great.
Violet and Dad agree.
Violet's a big Aussie Open fan.
Jace, were you? Obviously, we've already discussed AJ Styles. Was he going to be in number 3?
Yeah, we'll make AJ be number 3. He goes on his own match with Kenny, tries to get revenge for the way he left New Japan on his last night. Bullet Club turned on him. Right itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think like when we covered Finn, we've more or less kind of covered what we would like to see and what he could get up to. I mean, both would have the sort of, again, the idea of just getting them involved with the Elite and the Bullet Club side of things, and it's like it just adds an extra layer to a storyline that's already kind of one of the best ones happening in wrestling at the moment. So, yeah.
Be back in a second, chaps.
Sure. Well, might as well kick off my number 2 while we wait for Jace to come back. So number 2, I think this one's one that was probably on a lot of people's lists. Like I had this is the slot I was a bit like, I'm not sure who to put here, but I think because we want to see more out of him, and that's got to be Keith Lee.
I'll cross number 2 off my list.
Oh, so you had him at number 2 as well?
I had him at number 2 as well, but don't worry, I've got plenty of backups, Greg.
Okay. Well, I think we could both pretty much agree why we want to see Keith Lee there. Talk about, I'd say him and next to Karrion Kross, Keith Lee's been the biggest, like, why the fuck are you not doing anything with him on the main roster? Like, he came off an amazing NXT run. He had a lot of backing behind him. He was a big guy, but like a kind you hadn't seen before. He was different. He was unique. He had the biggest backing before him, and he's got on the main roster. And what can you say has he done other than beating Randy Orton on his debut of the main roster?
Draped in gold, great on the mic, athletic, acrobatic, strong, big, oozing charisma, hot wife, who's also on my list, by the way. Keith Lee literally has everything anyone ever looks for in a wrestler and more. And the fact that they're thinking of changing his name now and giving him an entirely new gimmick, I'm like, why? This man was a joint North American and NXT champion. Right, that people love Keith Lee. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Brock Lesnar loves Keith Lee.
Yeah, one of the best Rumble moments.
Boy.
Yeah, one of the best Rumble moments recently. You're like, "Ooh, big boy," you know. Like that is like one of the best rubs you're ever going to get from Brock.
Yeah, that was Keith Lee has had 2 good Royal Rumbles now, I believe. That's 2, and both times people popped hard for him because it's Keith Lee. it needs no more explanation. Keith Lee was, of course, my as I just said, my number 2 as well, because just watch the man wrestle, dude. Watch the man talk. Watch the man wrestle. The man can have amazing feuds. Imagine a feud between a like for the number 1 contendership like kind of feud between Hangman Adam Page and Keith Lee, and the kind of heartfelt "I'm sorry, but I need this" kind of promos that would go to and fro, and the emotion in the wrestling. Keith Lee gets it. He gets it. He just does, and it's sad.
Like I honestly think like the way, because a lot of the names we've said, we've been like we've all said like, why haven't they pulled the trigger on this person? And they've obviously, apart from Roman, they're all people who've came up through the indies.
Yeah.
Like apart from like an AJ Styles, who sort of at that point transcended the industry.
Yeah.
A little bit, not to the extent of like an Austin or a Hogan or a Rock, but he didn't need to go to WWE. He could have stayed in Japan. He could have went to Ring of Honor. He could have just toured small promotions and still made money despite himself. But like Keith Lee in AEW would, again, like I said for Shinsuke, like that he's that guy who he could be a star maker, not just for himself, but for young up-and-comers. Because it's only a matter of time before AEW start their own developmental system. Because I don't think they can keep pulling from the indies at the rate they're doing and keep everyone happy.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, they already kind of do with Dark and Dark Elevation. They're obviously not strictly developmental, but that's kind of where they sort of send sort of new prospects in a way.
It's where they gain like their wins and losses, isn't it? It's where like when they're trying to build someone to be a contender, they give them jobbers on Dark and get the win losses up, which is very good, very clever way to do it.
Like you said, Keith Lee, amazing on the mic, in the ring. He looks great. The fact that he can move like that for someone of his size defies physics.
It does. It really does.
It takes the laws of physics and goes, that can get to fuck.
I love the spot where he's running the ropes, someone tries to go into him, and he just absolutely just bam, like an absolute rebound. And they like in the indies, I know he just sent wrestlers into the literal crowd. What I'm saying is that you know that CM Punk is doing voluntary crowd dives right now at AEW because he's got a lot of clout right there right now, and everyone loves him. Just have Keith Lee, CM Punk. What a match, by the way. But just have when they're on the ramp, them run at each other, but Keith Lee just off you get. See you later. Like rebound CM Punk into the crowd just involuntarily this time. It would be sick.
Like what he did with Adam Cole in NXT.
Yes.
No,
totally.
because CM Punk's over with the crowd, Keith Lee shoulder tackles him into the crowd, but the crowd just crowd surf Punk all the way around the ring and back to the other side of the entrance ramp.
Nothing would make me happier. Nothing would genuinely make me happier.
I like the idea that the camera is following Punk. And then it gets to a point and Keith Lee's like standing on the barricade and like fucking just a big splash and just flattens everyone.
I know, yeah. Keith Lee tries to crowd surf and follow, so it's like this weird kind of Benny Hill chase going all around the Allstate Arena. Like,
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, me too. Make it happen.
But you can imagine Punk's just going to take the piss and just pretend that he's like having a swim.
Oh, I would.
That's what happens. They're just like swimming. Punk's swimming away from Lee. Lee's swimming to try and catch him.
Wrestling is the only place where you could fantasy book that and be like, that was the best thing that could have happened.
That's why wrestling is the best.
It really is.
So Scott, if I stole your thunder with the same number 2, have you thought of a different one?
I do indeed. I'll hit you in my. Yeah,
this
I'll hit you with
long-ass
my number 6. Who, in my opinion, is the easiest wrestler to book.
Okay.
I say that with the full hyperbole. No, it's no exaggeration. She is the easiest wrestler to book. It's Asuka, and I don't know how WWE keep getting her wrong. Book her. Literally, NXT got it right, very right, in fact. Like, that's why we know. That's why I know that Asuka can be booked that way and booked very easily that way. Have her go around in her beige suit, saying that no one is ready for her, and heck, if she's in AEW, give her Jake the Snake Roberts, and send her to destroy everyone on that women's roster, to then eventually have a fantastic match with Thunder Rosa, and maybe even Britt Baker, and Ruby Soho as well. Just Asuka. I love this woman. And even when she has a title in WWE, even when she's the women's champion, or the Money in the Bank holder, or she's got, or the commentary are putting over with all these accolades and stuff like that, I always still feel like that she's a mid-carder. And I think that's a lag from NXT's booking of her. Being this Goldberg-style champion, just make her just make her the fight, like make her this make her the final boss in a fighting game. That's all you need to do. She's a badass, like, mask wearing, she hits people with her ass and makes it look like she's gonna kill them. It's so easy to book this woman, and putting her in AEW with a burgeoning women's division that's going from strength to strength, it would only see it fly to further heights.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the matches between her and Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker have just so good. So good.
Yeah. Imagine the strike fest between her and Thunder Rosa. Imagine.
Oh.
Yeah, like, Asuka is legit one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. And having her in AEW will, because you guys might not agree, but I think the women's division is the weakest point of AEW.
But it's getting better.
Division, getting better. The heavyweight division's fantastic. The tag division's on point. Their mid card is fantastic. It's just the women's division. I think it started off without direction.
Yeah.
But now it's starting to get it. It's going to roll on as long as it keeps focused on where it's going and doesn't try to get there too quickly. Like, they're going to be. That's going to be fantastic as well. And having someone like Asuka, who, again, could put on a fantastic match with a mop.
Yeah.
Who could probably legit kick the shit out of 95% of the people on the roster.
Male or female.
Female. Like, it's only going to make that division so much better. And Asuka could even be... Because apart from what's her name, Tessa Blanchard, there's never been a woman crossover into the male divisions since China. Like on a mainstream, or in the case of Tessa Blanchard, a semi-mainstream level. Asuka could be that one who could transcend the gender divisions.
Absolutely.
I don't think she should go after Kenny Omega in the world title, but definitely go for the TNT title.
Should.
I also think she. I at least
as much as I would
want
love to see Asuka and Kenny Omega, I think it would be too soon if you're going to try and like transcend the gender boundaries, you can't just say like you're going from not being in the division to now you're the champion.
Asuka
It has to be. It has to be a build. But I think Asuka, because Asuka's like 38, 39.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is she like how many more years is she going to have in the business?
At least 5, maybe 6, 7.
I mean, 10 if she's
Like, I'm not saying she's going to retire anytime soon. I don't want her to retire anytime soon, but we don't know what she wants in her life. She might want to go on and do something like what's a degree in? She's got a degree in like journalism or something like that. She might want to go on and do something with that while she's still got her body as it is. Doesn't want to go too long, or she might want to go and start training. She might want to settle down and have a family. We don't know.
Put her on commentary, Japanese commentary, sure, but put her on Japanese commentary for AEW, because you can hear some of the promos she does in Japanese. To like, I love it when she does this as well, even though I can't understand a word she's saying. But when she just goes at them with like in Japanese. And you can tell by like the intonation and what she's saying that like, my God, if I knew what she was saying, that would have stung. I want her to do Japanese commentary if she does retire, because that would be way up her street. And plus, she's a trained striker. She'll know the moves. She'll know the terminology, and she'll know like this like. The stratagem and the techniques. Yeah.
She will be the female Japanese Mauro Ranallo.
Yes.
I dig it.
I dig it. But yeah.
That'll be her like her little handle. It'll be like Asuka, female Japanese Mauro Ranallo. Because you can't let a woman have nice things in wrestling.
Mamma mia!
What's the Japanese for Mamma mia?
I wouldn't even want to attempt that.
Japanese fans get in the comments.
Like,
Quick to Google Translate.
I'm not going to insult the Japanese. They know they have access to tentacles. I'm not going near them.
Technically, everyone has access to tentacles.
Not to the rate the Japanese do. They've got Goku and Vegeta. I'm not fucking with them.
And Saitama, and all animes in general. I think I've been on I've been spending a lot of my isolation just perusing TikTok, and so many anime things come up, and I'm just like, oh Nelly, yeah. There's a lot of yeah.
Apparently, if you're trying to say it in English, it's very similarly spelled. I'm just gonna see what it listens like. Yeah, it's basically the same. I'll insert an audio clip into the thing.
Mamma mia!
Thank you.
Japanese accent.
Yeah, basically, yeah. that's all it is. That's a solid choice, Asuka. I really like that one. Jace, have you pulled one out for us for number 2?
Yeah, I'll stick with the women's division.
All right.
And I am going to sort of bend the rules a little bit. And I'm going to send 4 women.
Okay.
I'm sending the horsewomen.
So you just gut in WWE's women division, basically.
Don't worry, I'll cross off my number 1. That's fine.
Is your number 1 Becky?
It was, yeah.
I think there's a reason, right? The 4 horsewomen, they get credited with it, but obviously it was like Emma, Paige, Natalia. But the 4 horsewomen have revolutionized women's wrestling. From being in NXT to the main roster, what have you. But before the 4 horsewomen came along, you weren't going to see a female main evented Raw. I mean, Trish and Lita did it, but how many years it had been since that? until the horsewomen came along, you weren't going to see it. So they did that. Then they main evented a pay-per-view. And then 2 of them have main evented a WrestleMania with Ronda Rousey. And then Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks main evented the first night of WrestleMania. These 4 women can go in there and turn a good women's division into a great women's division. Not just for the fact that they would put on great matches with the likes of Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose, whoever. Like, they go in there and say, right, this is how you do it. This is how we did it. This is what we know works. But I think because of Becky, Sasha, and Bayley being from the indies, they'll respect people enough. Obviously, Charlotte will as well, but they'll respect people enough to be like, right, this is your character, this is mine. Let's sit down, let's work together. We'll get this to be we're going to be better than the men. We were better than the men in WWE. We're going to be better than the men here.
I was my main point of, because I was going to book Becky Lynch for my number 1. My main point was, of course, because her versus Britt Baker will be just a dream feud. But that and the fact that, in my opinion, a good roster is built on like a main 4, a Mount Rushmore, if you will. And that's very much what the four horsewomen were to WWE. They were 4 main eventers where you could literally, between the 4 of them, juggle title feuds going an entire year if you wanted to. If all 4 were fit at the same time, and you can build a division around that. And AEW right now, if you think about their Mount Rushmore, to use my own analogy, they have Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, and Ruby Soho as currently, in my opinion, their big 3. They just need one more. Now, if we are fantasy booking Jace's idea with this, they don't just get 1, they get 4 more who could also, like, these 7, you can easily, like, book women's title feuds lasting from now to 2025. Easily. You could even start up your own tag division if you wanted to with the women that are left. Anna Jay and Tay Conti are 2 of my favorite performers right now. Like, yeah, I still want a place for them on this because they're building both of those guys up really, really well. And not to mention the countless other women that are currently still being built up. The Bunny, for instance, is another great example. Penelope Ford. Just AEW are building. It's taking time, and has been some neglect. But now, with the addition of Ruby Soho especially, they are building. And if they are to get, if they hypothetically got all 4 horsewomen, WWE would be fucked. They would be fucked. Because they're one, in my eyes, their one trump card over AEW is their women's division. But they're slowly losing that with how good Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker is looking to be. But I absolutely agree with you, Jace, and the matches would be phenomenal. And we'd finally be able to get the 4 horsewomen fatal 4-way that we've never gotten still.
Yeah, we have.
In NXT. Yeah, but that was before that was before Becky Lynch was the man. That's before Bayley was the role model, etc., etc.
Yeah, but like another big reason why I want them there is, like you said, you could build a division around them with Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Ruby Soho, but you would have not just the best women's division in the world. You have the best women's division in the world with no competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and especially like because if they do it right, it will go down. If they all were to go, if they did it right, it would go down as the greatest women's division ever. Because WWE are never going to be named the greatest women's division ever because they had so long of Johnny Ace being in control.
I know.
And it was just like no disrespect to the women, but when he was just hiring models because they looked good, couldn't wrestle, they were having 60-second, 2-minute matches, sometimes even less. Like, it's never going to be, they're never going to get over that when it comes to like writing the history of WWE. And but AEW, rocky starts, which you're going to have with any company, but build it and just build it and build it and just let them be wrestlers first and women second.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Completely agree with all that. Right. Well, I don't have any honorable mentions. So I mean, I just didn't even write a list. So maybe Scott, you just run through all like as many as the other names as you want, and then we'll just get straight into number one.
If you have any questions about any of these names or want any elaboration or clarification, just let me know and just stop me. But in the meantime, I originally came here with 35, which I know is way more. But apparently I needed it anyways because I needed a couple backups. I needed to work on the fly. So I'm going to run through a couple names. Chad Gable, I had. The Iconics. I have Paige. Cara Noir, the current Progress champion.
Nearly made my list. Nearly.
Yeah. Dalton Castle, I also had. Ember Moon, Rockstar Spud, El Generico / Sami Zayn. Mia Yim, Dominic Dijakovic would. Oh, I miss him so much. Seth Rollins / Tyler Black. The Viking Experience, Machine War, etc. The rest of the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong. Primate, I have as well. The Final Boss, Meiko Satomura. Very nearly made my top 5. I was thinking about it. Ilya Dragunov, Sonya Deville, Damian Sandow, who I mentioned earlier as well. Ricochet, because if the Forbidden Doors open, get Osprey in. Have a Sanity reunion, which I would love very much, as two of them, Damo and Wolf, are now free agents now too. Will Ospreay, of course, because Forbidden Door. Zack Sabre Jr. because Forbidden Door. And then Gargano and Ciampa, #DIY. And that is my honorable mentions.
Nice. Essentially, you just took NXT and just went,
yes,
now.
We take NXT and we put it somewhere else.
I mean, I don't think anyone would be against that, given the way NXT could be heading now. So yeah, I think we'd all be on board.
And it doesn't help, given my number one. Sorry,
it's fine.
Before Greg reveals his number one, can I guess who it is?
Yes, you can.
Is it one Peter Dunne?
No. I can see why you think that. I think very close to making my list. The reason why I was originally thinking of, because spoiler, this is a faction. I was originally thinking of having 2 factions in here because number 1 was always going to be number 1. I nearly put British Strong Style in here, but then I could see them having good stuff in AEW, but then at the same time, I just see them being more of a better fit for WWE at the time being, especially when you got they're very much kind of be in part of that entertainment aspect. I think time will tell. I mean, hopefully they'll have a good run on the main roster, and then maybe that would change. But for the time being, they didn't make it as high as my other ones. But my number 1, Scott has actually already mentioned half of this faction already on his list. and that faction is Schadenfreude, which, if people aren't familiar with them, is essentially the main version of it now is the tag teams of CCK, Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos, and Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher.
Oh.
So if you're a fan of the Indies, you'll have probably seen the merch kicking around. I'd urge anyone to essentially get a subscription to Fight Club Pro and go back and watch them, because that's where a lot of this stuff happened. Kind of like Schadenfreude is like what was like for me one of the best kept secrets in terms of factions. Like if you didn't know about British wrestling, in particular the Fight Club Pro stuff, you weren't good enough of seeing them that much, because that's where they did a lot of it. But it was honestly like their big thing is they said they weren't a cult, but if you saw them, they had like a cult-like following. They were huge. And at one point, their ranks included the likes of Volta, Timothy Thatcher, Lucky Kid. Like, it was massive at one point. But some of the best heel work, and they basically just did it all themselves. Like, the creative minds in there alone is crazy. And I think if you took what they did with Fight Club Pro and put it on the AEW stage, it would be fantastic. And just focusing on that alone, you get two amazing tag teams for the price of one here. On top of that, to add to the division. If you want to see how great CCK's work is, go back and again, go to Progress and watch their 4 matches that they had with Santana and Ortiz when they were still LAX.
Yeah.
Up there is probably some of my all-time favorite tag team matches. CCK refer to their tagline as being sick fucking tag moves. And when you watch them, they are sick fucking tag moves. And I think matches they could have with the Bucks, they could again have with Santana Ortiz again, Lucha Brothers, it's the sky's limit. And as we already discussed with Scott, Aussie Open there, again, more dream tag team matches. Again, it's another faction, which I know a lot of people aren't keen on too many factions, but I think me and Garrett are in the same camp of like, AEW is sort of doing factions like New Japan. You've got them there, but you don't need to be doing, every faction doesn't need to be doing something. You can just pull them out if you need them. And then the wrestlers can just do their own thing, if that makes sense. So it doesn't always have to be focused on it, but I think having them there, maybe giving them a bit of a dominant heel run would be great. But yeah, if you aren't familiar with Schadenfreude, go back and do your research, because they are tremendous.
That is a stars list of tag teams too. Absolutely.
I mean, they are the two probably the best tag teams on the Indies that haven't been signed yet. I think at the moment it would be difficult because Brooks is working for DDT and Lycos has only just come back and is working with Lycos too. So that's kind of coming out of the Schadenfreude stuff. But maybe later down the line. And also on top of that, Jonathan Gresham, who's part of CCK, also did Schadenfreude stuff. Bring him in. Then you've got like 5. And that's another solid wrestler. So yeah, Schadenfreude.
Nice. Yeah. I absolutely love it. That's kind of like my Aussie Open answer, but with more tacked on, which is even better. Yeah. Especially given CCK and MSK, who are amazing. I mean, MSK are doing some great work at NXT right now, despite the new NXT, which makes you really sad. But they're still champs, and they're still great. And their Dusty Classic tournament run was amazing to watch. And CCK, it almost goes without saying, I love CCK. And Chris Brooks is I've not seen... I love him, despite the fact I've not seen enough of him. That kind of thing.
Oh. And I think, again, because with these as well, I just don't see either of these tag teams ever cropping up in WWE. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't feel like... I mean, maybe at one point NXT for sure, but main roster WWE, they just don't seem to be that fit. AEW is welcoming to all different kinds, and they would be a perfect fit there, in my opinion. So, yeah. Schadenfreude with basically made up of the two teams of CCK and Aussie Open. Scott, number 1.
My number 1 pick is another woman. In fact, I want to tack this on as a 3-part draw, but I know that's kind of copping out a little bit. Because these are what I like to refer to as the NXT UK trio.
Okay.
And I want to choose one of them, but I feel like I just want I want to take my cake and eat it. So I might just choose one of them and just leave the other two as an honorable mention. Real quick, okay, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley, I think it'll be my number one. WWE, like I'll echo my sentiments with Asuka. They're doing it wrong, and she's easy. It's piss easy. Just have her beat people up. She's good at it. Like, stop getting these weird, morally grey, weird feuds with Charlotte. Fuck it off. Have her be cool Australian fucking motorcycle goth Rhea Ripley and have her just have great matches. She doesn't even need to say that much. Her size speaks for itself. And my other two honorable mentions that I was thinking of tacking them on as a 3, but that'll be cheating a little bit. But I'll add these kind of as a postal thing. But yeah, Toni Storm and Piper Niven or Viper.
Dewdrop.
Dewdrop,
not Dewdrop. Dewdrop can fuck off. She is not called Dewdrop. She kicks ass. Like
the first dew of spring.
Oh, I hate it because she's so cool. I hate it. Don't make things I think are cool not cool anymore by calling them something stupid.
Yeah, but we get to see her hurting Eva Marie.
That's fine. It's fine. I get it. In fact, I like it. It's fine. Just if she's not with Eva Marie anymore, don't call her Dewdrop. Stop calling her Dewdrop. She's no. I think Viper and Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley could tear shit up, as we've spoken before, as we've spoken in volume on the women's division in AEW, and how I believe it's really coming through at the moment and blossoming. I just want to keep adding fucking water and fertilizer to this flower that's blossoming. And what better than just those three, specifically for my number one pick, Rhea Ripley, to really bolster that.
Solid. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, it's like when we discussed the 4 horsewomen. I mean, like, obviously with the 4 horsewomen, that is very fantasy. I think it would be quite a stretch to see them go there. But those 3 names, I think
1 or 2, but
yeah, I think with those 3 names, though, I think any 3 of them could easily crop up in AEW because again, it's a situation where they did great stuff in NXT and NXT UK, and then they've made it to the main roster. I mean, Dewdrop's obviously getting quite the push at the moment, and I suppose Rhea is as well. But like you say, it's not gelling like it's supposed to. What the hell is Toni up to at the moment?
She's had the old match.
Isn't she? She's tagging with someone.
I want to say it's No, she's a face.
She had a match. She tagged with someone on Friday against Carmella and Zelina Vega.
I want to say it was Naomi, but that's probably
wrong. It was
wrong.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, that's the one. Liv Morgan, yeah. But she's just kind of there occasionally. Very much the Liv Morgan spot right now, where it's very much just like she's there sometimes. Blonde girl, look. I hate that Viper's called Dewdrop. She's never gonna win a title. She's never gonna win a title. They're not gonna. What have they done? What have they done? She's never. I
can't believe you've done this.
I can't. Oh fuck! I can't believe you've done this. Why? She's never gonna win a title. And new WWE Women's Champion Dewdrop. Fucking, they can do one. That's what they can fucking do.
And breathe.
I hate it.
Things like you. So getting back to your actual pick of Rhea Ripley.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, like she's so easy to book, but they've got to like as the women's tag team champion with Nikki Ash. Because I refuse to call her Nikki ASH. It's Nikki Ash.
Yeah.
Which don't get me wrong, love Nikki. She's fantastic, but the characters just shouldn't be together.
It's like they're trying to
Nikki's
force an oddball tag team,
Yeah,
but without the
But
effort that goes
sometimes-
into writing one.
yeah, sometimes works. Like look at
Okay, bro.
RK Bro. Look at William Regal and Tajiri.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. Booker
Rock
T and
and,
Gold Dust.
Rock and Sock.
Yeah, but it's like WWE just need to get rid of the women's tag team championships.
Yeah.
Just don't have a plan for them. It's like honestly, until I saw like that they'd won them, I forgot that they were even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the issue with them as well is like, and it's kind of in the same with the men's, is that they don't actually have tag teams. It's basically mostly made up of teams. Yeah, like I mean, has there actually been a women's actual tag team that have won those belts, or has it always just been cobbled together?
The Iconics.
Belts? Okay, so yeah, Iconics would probably be the standout.
And you could argue at the time the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, a little bit.
But apart from that, no.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke of a division. Like again, like you said, I always forget the belts are a thing. You know, until they need them.
They're so ugly.
Yeah, it's just like booky little like, you know that this is going to be a bit of a pull. But they always remind me of back when I was in primary school and Beyblades were a thing. Beyblades would usually come in 3 parts with the bottom, the middle, like metal band, and the top bit is the bit it reminds me of. The weird kind of top disc bit with the bit sticking out and it looks plastic, and get out.
That was actually a solid analogy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, I was very thankful that landed, because I was like, oh my god, what if these guys are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
we're not that much older than you know.
Nerd. But guys,
these young whippersnappers
playing with their Beyblades.
You don't know you're born, you.
Well, yeah, Ripley. I'll group in there with Asuka as one of them who could transcend the gender divisions.
Yeah,
like, I would love to see Ripley kicking the fuck out of MJF.
Oh my god, yes, that'd be brilliant. I'd love that.
Things are Ripley, because of how like her size, because she's 6 foot thereabouts.
Oh yeah,
and she's hench.
Oh, let me get the exact.
Like she is one of the she's up there with like a China who you could actually see realistically hanging out with the men in the ring.
No, 100%. That would be a great one where,
oh my god,
really could mix it, Jenna. Yeah,
she's only 5'7".
Is she? I thought she was 6 foot.
1.71 meters. She's only 5'7". I did not know that at all.
But
I thought she was tall as hell.
Isn't Charlotte like 5'10"? I'm sure she's the same height as Charlotte.
Yeah, let's look this up. Charlotte's
tall because she's about the same height as Nia Jax. I'm sure.
Charlotte's
1.7.
1.78 meters, which is what's that in feet? I'd say height. Say it in feet, you damn animal. Yeah, 5 foot. Charlotte's 5'10", but apparently Rhea Ripley's 5'7". That's literally according to Wikipedia.
I mean, it is one of those things where they always look tall on TV. It's like when me and Jace met Volta, and Jace was exactly the same height as him, pretty much.
No, I was about 2 inches taller than Volta.
Yeah. We kind of shattered the illusion a bit.
That's why they get all the fans to sit down for the most part.
Yeah, he just looks really cuddly and nice.
Aw.
It's like when say Tom Phillips would be interviewing Kevin Owens. Tom Phillips is about my height. Kevin Owens is about there. So Tom Phillips would be stood like.
He's just he's on his knees with a pair of shoes at the bottom of him.
Yeah, no, he'd legit stand like that, so like the wrestlers were taller than him to keep the illusion.
Yeah.
Buy that.
How tall is Tom
Anyway.
Phillips? Let me look that up too.
That's it. We need to do an episode on how tall are wrestlers. That's a good round for a quiz.
That is, and I've got next quiz, so
Scott,
thanks for the idea.
Spoiler,
I'm
Scott is
gonna
our
look
quiz
up
master next.
Yeah, I'm just going to look up every wrestler's height now. Every wrestler in the history of wrestling.
Tom Phillips is 6 foot exactly, which is my height. So Tom Phillips is the exact height of me.
Tom Phillips
So he's a
is the
short
exact
house.
height of a Scot.
He's exactly 1 Scots tall.
Anyway, shall we go into my last pick?
Take us home, Jace.
So first, I forgot. I'm just going to say an honourable mention before we
Okay.
go. Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
That's a good one.
But my number one is the Rotunda brothers.
I
Dallas.
you getting both of them in.
Bo
Yeah,
Dallas,
okay.
Bray Wyatt, get them in.
I was thinking because it's likely they're gonna join because of the teasers
One for
on
sure.
Twitter.
One for sure, I think, will be showing up in very soon.
Oh yes, true. But Mr. Bojangles, Taylor Rotunda, I think is a really good fit for AEW. I think he's a brilliant fit. He ticks a lot of boxes.
I just want.
I agree.
I've just been trying to think. I've just been trying to think of like how can Bo Dallas do like a non-copyright version of you have to believe.
Just call him B Dallas, and then he can actually say believe.
That's a good point.
No, but I think
My name is B.
his new name has to be something like Oliver Austin, and then it's like you have to believe. He just like he just tries to make it work, but he just doesn't. I think
AEW are a t-shirt company; they can make it work.
I'm just picturing Stone Cold. When you said that, I'm just picturing Stone Cold Steve Austin as Oliver Twist.
That's the film that needs to get made.
Goddamn, sir, can I have some more?
Please, sir. Please, sir.
Give me some more. I'm
Goddamn.
going to open a can of whoop-ass on you.
Have some more, you son bitch.
He just smashes 2 bowls of gruel together and just...
If anyone wants me to get more gruel, give me a hell yeah. You want more? You want me to whip your ass backwards?
He's just going across that, like cafeteria thing of the where they work, and he's just standing on each table and be like, dun, 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 dun.
I like the idea of he just he's going around the cafeteria, but whenever one of the workhouse like staff come over, just oh yeah, you son of a bitch, stunner. Next one comes along, stunner.
Hey sir, can I have some more? More? What? More? What? Etc.
I think I've got my next Instagram teaser that I'm going to have to work on Photoshop.
That's a video as well. Recasting classic films with wrestlers.
Yes, absolutely yes. Oh, please. Greg, make it happen.
Disney's the Santa Claus, but instead of Tim Allen, it's Mick Foley.
Oh, that's yeah.
All three
that's
faces.
the one.
Just, yeah. All three faces are Foley. Just goes to different houses, and then it's just Cactus Jack, a kid wakes up, just bam, barbed wire baseball back to the face.
And for you, little Roger, a barbed wire covered pane of glass. Thanks, Santa. Anyways, away with me jumps out the window onto the announce table.
Dude loves just brings a kid a prostitute.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen.
Make it happen. But yeah, I think
Love Actually, but with Ric Flair.
Ooh, baby.
Oh.
Because he could play every one of the blokes. He's done it all. He's cheated on wives. He's had wives cheat on their husbands with him. He could just play all the men.
We remember Love Actually very differently, you and me.
Yeah, but I'm a very cynical person.
He's just a very cold man, Scott.
If I had a soul, it would have left by now.
Well, I think anything else you want to add there, lads, or are we ready to wrap up?
Bo Dallas versus Orange Cassidy, make it happen.
Yep, I'm down with that. Well, yep, solid picks there, guys. So thank you for running through that list. Quick plugs to get out of the way. I'm going to completely embarrass Garrett now. If you want, so Garrett does streaming, and if you haven't seen already, Grod has a T-shirt.
Yeah, and I bought it as well. I bought it.
When I have money, I will also be buying it. So yeah, me and Scott actually had a hand helping design this. There you go. We actually did it through Jackbox Games with him, didn't we, Scott?
Yes. And oh boy, Garrett regretted the stipulation being, hey, whatever T-shirt wins this TKO game, I will have as my next piece of merch. Because we took advantage of that liberty a little bit too much, but yeah, no, the rightful winner ended in the end. It's a little frog that says, "Please consider my request" underneath. The original design was great, but this one's even better. So yeah, please give generously with your wallets.
Exactly. It's only available as a recording this. It's about another 23 days. It's a very limited run. So please buy one and help support them. I'm going to be picking mine up as soon as I've been paid. So please check it out.
In the post, and I'll be wearing it on next week's episode.
Bam. And usual plugs out the way. If you want to find us on the socials, that's Bearhug Club Podcast, Facebook and YouTube, Bearhug Club Pod Instagram, and Bearhug Club Twitter. And if you want to come check us over at the website, that's bearhugpod.wixsite.com/bearhugclouds. I'll leave a link to the actual t-shirt website below, but if you want to go to our website in the meantime, I have put it on there as well. So please go check it out. Hopefully we will be back next week, and hopefully we will be covering the G1 Climax. But until then, take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.